Ooh.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. This is the Citizen Well team. We're just going to wait a moment for everybody to refresh their browsers and arrive. So give us 1 minute. All right. So my name is Carrie Kelly. I'm one of the catalysts behind Citizen Well, and I want to officially welcome everybody to the second Mindful Mondays. Citizen Well is a commitment to democratizing well-being for everyone, not just a few, but for the good of all people. And so it was really important for us to make the practice of mindfulness and embodiment, accessible for all people. And that's really the spirit of this. It's bringing the community together in practice. And so I want to introduce our first spiritual gangster in residence, Angel Kyodo Williams, who is a sensei in the Japanese Zen tradition. She is the author of an amazing book called Being Black, Zen and the Art of Living with Fearlessness and Grace, which I personally know her to do every moment of her life. She has been an inspiration to the work at Citizen Well and to me personally, and I feel privileged to call her a teacher and a friend. And so without further ado, Angel, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. I'm happy to be here again for the second Mindful Monday with Citizen Well. I'm speaking to you from the Hudson Valley of New York State, and it's lush and green and wonderful here, and the kind of weather that makes meditation a perfect thing to start off our lunch hour with, or for those of you that are in the West Coast and other places, it's always good to start off the morning with. So if you weren't with us last week, there's a video that's available, and you are strongly encouraged to go back and look at those. I'll be building and also on the original instructions and deepening as we go along. In the community that I started called New Dharma Community, we developed a meditation that's specifically an approach to meditation that's specifically for people that want to make change in the world and have come to recognize or beginning to recognize that that's not possible without tending to our own inner lives, without developing a practice of being who we actually want to be in the world, discovering balance in our own lives, discovering sustainability in our own lives, discovering self-care and healing in our own lives. And one of the most fundamental practices that opens the world of opportunity for all of those things and more is the practice of seated meditation, which is why we choose to do Mindful Mondays. And so without any further chatter about that, let's begin. So last week I gave an instruction that is a merging of an ancient set of instructions in the Zen tradition out of which I come, that is basically called instructions for seated meditation. And there's a pith 4 lines that I shared, and I'm going to go over those lines, and as we go through each week, build from a practice of the body to refining the practice of the breath, and then finally the practice of the mind. Often we try to do all of them all at once and without actually seeing the relationship, so I thought it might be useful for people as a series to be able to see how those things are related and build on top of one another. And so the assumption is that the body being the most coarse aspect of what we're working with in meditation, coarse meaning that we can really feel and notice things that are happening when we turn our attention to them. is the place where we want to create a stable foundation. So we don't just jump to the mind, even though we say mindful. We don't just immediately jump to the mind, because actually there's a lot to work with in the body first. And as many of us know that have, and many of us say that are activists and we have a lot of energy, we say, I can't sit still. And so the good news is, in the way that we talk about meditation in our community, and in Fearless Meditation, which we offer instruction in, it's actually not about being still. And what it is about is actually creating a stableness in those orders, first the body, then the breath, and then finally the mind comes along through the kind of a stacking of these practices. So to the 4-line meditation, the first instruction is to sit upright. And when I gave the instruction last week, I said, that means to not be lying down, to not be slouching, to actually bring oneself into an upright position. What I'd like to do is to actually add and enhance that instruction and say that when we sit upright, one of the things we want to make sure to do is to actually extend our buttocks out behind us. And so whatever seat you might be on, right? And so in taking your seat, you actually want to lean all the way forward and extend your buttocks back behind you, so that actually you're creating a wide base underneath you, where your sits bones are firmly on the seat beneath you. If you have a cushion or a cushioned chair, you want to feel the sit bones kind of rooting into that seat. If you're sitting on a chair, you actually want to scoot forward a little bit so that you're not leaning on the back and your sits bones don't cave in underneath you. Because if that happens, if your sits bones are not firmly rooted and your pelvis caves underneath you, you'll feel a kind of pull. Your body will keep kind of pulling and you start sagging down. And that's often actually the main thing that keeps us from feeling as if we can, quote unquote, sit still. So I want to make sure that that instruction is there for everyone. Really, really fundamental. And so as you lean all the way forward and extend those buttocks out, and don't be shy, we've all got buttocks. Some of us have fleshy parts of the buttocks, and we want to actually move those away as we sit, as we lean forward, so that we can actually feel our sits bones connected to our seat. And beginning to draw our shoulders back into an upright position. This is, again, taking our seat. And this sense of taking our seat is to place us in a position of really knowing that the time that we take for self-care, the time that we take to allow our mind to just be and not have it to be working, is time that we deserve and is time that is well invested toward the intentions that we have in building a new world and interrupting the systems that are no longer sustainable, viable, or equitable. So we sit upright and take our seat. And again, the second instruction would be to extend into the width of our body, right? So from left shoulder to right shoulder, we want to actually fully extend and drawing our shoulders up into our ears and back and down. In the width of our body, again, we express our sense of relationship to the space around us. So our ears are against our shoulders, extending outward and really taking in and feeling the space that we occupy, feeling our sense of relationship with both the space around us and the people around us. This keeps us connected, recognizing that we are one expression, one unique expression of all that is connected. The third instruction is to press our nose against our navel. And so that means a kind of pressing your crown towards the sky, which brings your nose up and tends to drop the chin slightly downward. And our navel, right, the center of our gravity, roots downward. In the lengthening of our body, we feel our sense of dignity. And we can connect to the truth of our being able to connect, as they say, both heaven and earth, our aspirations connected with the root of the reality that we are actually in this moment. And in lengthening our body and feeling our sense of dignity, we can realize this connection. Not solely being stuck on the ground where things may feel overwhelming, but also not being so lofty that we forget the reality that we face and the reality that other people face. But we are, in our dignified position, a connection, a vehicle for bringing those aspirations to the ground. For bringing that grounded reality up into the heavens, if you will, so that we don't relate to reality as if it's just a bad and uncomfortable thing and all there is for us to do is to kind of escape. We actually want to appreciate the truth of now and things as they are. Can you appreciate the fullness of your experience right now? Both the challenges and that which there is to celebrate. The things about you that you may feel awkward or uncomfortable about. And the things about you that are extraordinary and unique and worthy, not because you earned it, but because you are here and you have inherent dignity. And from this place of rootedness, having taken your seat, extended yourself into relationship with all of life around you, And within that sense of connection with all of life around you, also having expressed your own inherent dignity and all of the possibility that lies within you when you take this seat in relationship and dignity, that you are a unique vehicle for the change you want to see in the world. That you are a unique vehicle for greater well-being to be expressed. And finally, from here, the last and fourth instruction is to give one full out-breath. So we begin in our style, we begin a fearless meditation with giving a full out-breath. Not taking one from our reserves before we give, but simply from the place that we are at this very moment, giving what we have, giving all that we have, and then finally, at the end, just when we're up at the edge of what it is that we have to give, we simply relax the diaphragm, relax into the situation, release, having given that effort of offering, of giving the full out-breath, we release effort. Knowing that being grounded, understanding our place in relationship, and owning our inherent dignity is enough. So in giving our full effort, our breath, our life force, and then simply releasing, we see that life returns itself to us. And we are nurtured and fed, and we are nurturing and feeding. And this is where well-being begins. Bringing our attention more to the outer world than solely our inner world, we bring this time together to an end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angel. I want to say a couple things before we close. One, I just want to acknowledge Angel again and just share with you all, if you want to work with Angel on bringing deep change into your life, she has a powerful online course coming up next month called 27 Days of Change, which is a really thorough inside-out approach to your life and to the ways in which you can be a powerful change maker in your community. And so if you want more information, it's 27daysofchange.com. And we're going to be sending that out to you all. Also, we just want to invite everybody to bring 3 friends to join us and to join Angel next week for Mindful Mondays. We have 2 more weeks with Angel in the month of June, this first inaugural month. And we're really trying to make this a way in which we can come together in community, even for a brief moment. It is a powerful recommitment to one another. And then finally, for all of those of you who are in New York, this coming Sunday, we are hosting an event with a coalition of spiritual leaders called Wage Wellbeing. It is going to be a yoga class, a meditation class, a dance party, a community dinner, all before the Wage Board hearing on June 15th. Which is very much in this moment deciding to raise the wage to $15 in New York State. So we are very close to changing policy and to, in fact, changing the lives of many New Yorkers, and we're really committed to being a part of that change and doing whatever we can to lift up the economic well-being of all people. So if you are in New York, next Sunday we are gathering at Judson Memorial Church in the Village at 8 o'clock for an evening and a morning of deep spiritual action, so we hope that you will join us. In a moment, you guys will all be redirected to a page where you can share this work with your friends of Mindful Mondays and recruit more community, so we encourage you to do that. And don't forget, 27daysofchange.com is the way in which you can take this work to the next level with Angel. We hope to see you all next Monday.